Hi everybody, it's Jen. Welcome back to my channel, Hallmark Plus More, where we watch and talk about shows, movies, mysteries, Hallmark ornaments, and anything else that floats our boat. So, if you were with me just a few minutes ago, we just finished watching the mystery or the Cases of Mystery Lane Death is Listening movie. So, what we're going to do here, let's talk, let's review. I'll go over my Gen rating. So, how did everybody like the movie? So, I'm going to tell you, when I do ratings and go over reviews, I usually talk about what I liked about the movie, what I didn't like, if it was believable, and then kind of the feel. So those are really the four things I kind of look at. I love the cases, Birdie and Alden case, which are Amy Garcia and Paul Campbell. I love them as a couple. I love that this brings out kind of like almost like a nerdy side in Paul Campbell, and I love that. He is such a brilliant actor. He can play so many different roles, but I like this kind of nerdy aspect of him, and I love Amy, the way she plays Birdie, where she's the sophisticated lawyer in a law firm with her mother, yet she has her own little quirks, and she just works really well in this scenario, in this series, because they're a married couple. So and they just kind of fit together seamlessly. If you watch their first movie, it was great. In this movie, it's like they didn't skip a beat. They came right back into character, and they just blend so well together. I love that dynamic. So I'm a big fan of this series, the case of Mystery Lane. I really hope the Cases of Mystery Lane continue to make movies. There's a lot of things that I loved about the movie. Like I said, I love the dynamic. I love that they brought characters back. That is one of my biggest things when I watch series, is especially mystery series, like murder mystery series. When you can bring back more of the cast, because I love the main characters always when I'm watching something, but you want to bring back the reoccurring characters. So I love that her mother had a scene. I love that Tom came back, the police detective from the first movie, because they kind of had that, hindering the investigation, that kind of love-hate relationship where like they were helping, but Tom was like, you're kind of a pain in my butt. So I like that he came back. And I like how they incorporated him. He was the boyfriend of Birdie's friend from high school that she's, getting back in touch with. So did I think it was believable? I do. I mean, I was telling you before, I love these characters. Paul and Amy, they incorporate these two characters, this couple, so well that I enjoy seeing them on screen every time. So anytime there is a new Cases of Mystery Lane movie, you can come to my channel and watch it with me, because I'm going to be watching. I'm a big fan. So I absolutely believed that they were these characters. I absolutely believed it. I thought the suspects were interesting, the people that were involved in the case. I thought they played their parts really well. And the feels of the movie, I really liked how it moved along. Now, there's always red herrings in mystery movies. Kind of like I said during commercials, you always suspect the spouse, right? The ex-husband or the wife. That's who you always suspect. For me, he came off a little too perfect, right? Laurel had a restraining order against him. He explained that, she did that because she was mean and kind of a bully, and it really wasn't on him. He's coming in a pink apron. He's making snickerdoodles. He's, being so, I thought it was like over the top nice. So I was like, why? Is he playing us? Is he really just like a mean guy and he's pretending not to be mean? But it turns out that was kind of a red herring and a ruse. It wasn't the ex. You don't normally think it'll be the ex because I feel like that's so overdone. So I didn't really suspect Peter. I just didn't really like that he was like so overly nice. I thought it maybe meant something, which is kind of what they do in mystery movies. They want you to kind of take you down different rows and different suspects. I did say early on about the duck and the keychain, and Kristen. I don't know. I can't tell you why I thought that. I just thought it was a little odd when they talked about it, and then, and duck squeak. Like I said, it reminded me of Bath Night with the rubber duck, Bert and Ernie on Sesame Street, having kids and babies and having a rubber ducky in the bathtub. That's what it sounded like to me. So when they were saying, oh, it's, asthma, it's an inhaler, I'm like, yeah, that's a wheezing. Yeah, I get your logic. But I'm going right back to the duck keychain. So I love that I was right. I told you early on I'm either going to be crazy, stupid, and everybody's going to say, oh, it has nothing to do with that. What are you talking about? But I was right. It was Kristen. The sound was the duck keychain. And I was kind of right about the motive too. You don't really realize like what the motive is until you find out who the killer is. So I think as we're watching this, we're going, well, did Maxwell have a motive? Did Peter have a motive? And this whole time you're thinking Kristen and Laurel St. James are allies. You know what I mean? She works for a publishing company. You saw she signed her book. So I definitely, I definitely think you find out it's Kristen. Why I thought it was Kristen, I didn't know why, because they didn't establish a motive for her. But I still had an inkling that it was the duck keychain. So when they arrested Katie, I was like, okay, we still got a little bit of time in the movie. So they can arrest Katie. If I'm wrong, I'll admit that I'm wrong. But I just, I knew something else was coming. And even though she said Katie, I thought it was a duck keychain. So I thought it was going to be Katie. She did say Katie on the audio recording, and Katie just had a keychain, but it was still Kristen. But I like that little twist where it wasn't Katie, it was KD. And then they saw the book, and she addressed it to KD, and that's what she called her. So I really thought that was interesting. My gut wasn't saying Katie. When they arrested Katie, I was like, oh, I'm going to look like a fool. I'm probably wrong. But then when they showed that last scene and it was the cases with Tom and Kristen, I knew I was right because it was the last scene in the movie, or close to the last scene in the movie. It was coming up on the time frame there. And, obviously they're with Kristen. So she's going to turn on them. Something's going to happen and they're going to figure it out. And I was right. Kristen, it was the duck keychain, and of course she turns on him and gets the gun from Tom. But I definitely just had a feeling on why they emphasized that so early in the movie. So I don't know if I spoiled it for you, or if you were kind of plotting it out and going through and trying to figure out the whodunit with me. But I definitely think it was a great movie. I love that I was right about the duck keychain. Didn't know why it was Kristen, but just, had that feeling on why they emphasized that. So definitely think it was a great movie. Not much that I disliked about it. One of the things that I will say that I really enjoyed is towards the end. Remember, I was saying I obviously want to find out who killed Laurel because that's the whole point of the movie. However, I am so curious now. Why did she make him up? Why does she link the suspects? Why does she steal the evidence? Why does she make it sound like there's a serial killer? Why? Why does she do all these things? So I love that they gave you more of a mystery to the movie. You want to find out who killed Laurel, but now you also want to find out all these other things. So that was a little surprising. I like that kind of extra suspense and extra kind of mystery to solve. You want to solve the murder, obviously, but you also want to solve why. And then there's a lot of movies that kind of don't tell you, and they're like, oh, well, we'll just let you figure it out, or let you think about it, and won't really tell you. So I am going to give huge props for that last scene, telling you, they went on Katie's podcast, which obviously they were trying to do halfway through the movie. So I like how they kind of ended the movie with them on the podcast. Or almost ended the movie. There was one more scene, but they ended it and they closed all 3 cases. And that is so important to me because I wanted to know why she linked them, but also it wasn't a serial killer. So do you know what that means? That means there were 3 separate killers, which means there are 3 families that haven't gotten closure because there are 3 families that believe there's still a serial killer out on the loose that could be killing people in different states and have just moved on. They don't know. So, I mean, that's so important. So big props to Hallmark Mystery. Thank you so much for almost ending the movie with that one last scene at the house, but allowing, in the movie, so to speak, those families to get that closure, allowing to end the movie knowing how important it is. If you lose somebody, if there is an unsolved case or a cold case, to get that closure, even though it was 30 years later. You could even see I was getting choked up when they were delivering the scarf because 30 years ago, if it's your child, because these are young women, these are mothers and grandmothers, you heard the saying, you're not supposed to outlive your children. These people are still grieving 30 years later and they don't have that closure. So if you can say, hey, this is a piece of clothing that we needed for DNA and we're able to give this back to you and this belonged to your loved one, that means something. That closure, that means something to that family. You just did something very, they're very grateful. You did a good thing. So I loved that at the end of the movie, they did test the DNA and say this person killed this person did this, and this person did this. Because everybody needs to, if you did a crime or you committed a felony, you need to, you need to make sure that, you're getting your services being, because they need that closure, and there needs to be justice for that. The families do need that closure. So I'm definitely glad that happened. And those families got that closure. So kudos to be able to end the movie that way. The other thing that left us kind of guessing was the very last scene with the FBI. So I don't know anything about Birdie's, parents. Besides obviously her mother running the law firm. So when the FBI said, when was the last time you saw your dad? And Birdie was like, I don't know. He died when I was 6. We need to come in and talk to you. So that makes me believe, what's going on. Is her dad a fugitive, or is he a witness to a crime, or what's going on? So that's kind of leaving you like, okay, there's going to be another movie, and one of the side stories in the next movie is going to be about Birdie's dad. So I love that. The way they ended the first movie was somebody coming in about another missing case. So they kind of allowed you to believe there's going to be another movie. So I love that they kind of left you with a little bit of suspense on what's going on with Birdie's dad, with the FBI talking. Because I'm hoping that's going to lead to another case of Mystery Lane movie. because I love this series. So obviously I keep going on and on about how I love it. So you can only imagine that out of a rating of 1 to 5, my Jen rating for this movie is 5 gold crowns. I'm definitely giving this movie 5 gold crowns. I think it was amazing. I loved the acting, and I just loved how they kind of kept you in suspense, and they told you about a couple different mysteries. Why she was faking it, and able to give closure to those 3 families. So for that, I definitely give it 5 gold crowns, and I definitely look forward to the next installment. I hope you enjoyed watching the movie with me. I hope you enjoyed talking and listening to the review and my Jen rating, and I enjoyed it. And until next time, I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.